Briefing. My name is Gregory Sneed, and we are glad you're here today. Today is the 18th of December. This is our last program for this calendar year. So after this, we'll be taking a 2-week break, and we will be back in January. As I always say, if you've had things that you wanted to get done for this year, you only got a few more days left to go. And I don't know how many days left of Christmas shopping you have. I think we announced it was 100 days away. Remember that program? I said we got 100 days until Christmas, and then boom, here it is. So, yep, I was at the mall yesterday. Got there nice and early. Got there about 11 o'clock. Hardly anybody there. And by 2:30, I was out of there, loaded up, and got 80% of it done. So,
good.
Question is it wrapped?
No, but I got the wrapping stuff here. So I got boxes, and I got the paper, and I even got an ample supply of Scotch tape. I got like 6 rolls of the Scotch tape. So I am all ready. I even got the little tag. So that's the thing that I always mess up is I got the tag. So I'm getting the Sharpie and writing on the paper. On the paper. Yeah, what it is, or on the bag.
Mm-hmm. So now you have a concept of a plan, right?
Yeah. It'll get done. Got plenty of time. And took anybody here take advantage of the Black Friday sales from right around Thanksgiving or right after Thanksgiving? Got a few things in. So anyway, belaboring that point, but let's see. My name is Gregory Sneed, and CEO of Lifesaver Financial Services. We're glad you're here for the community briefing. And Crystal is wearing her red for the Christmas holiday. I just have my branded, company shirts here, but let me see if I got something here I can throw on. Maybe my Santa hat.
Put your little cap on. Put your little red bunny, a little red Santa hat.
Yeah. I'll work something out. So please welcome the queen of our community briefing, Miss Crystal Mitchell.
Thank you. Yes, guys, it's the holiday season. I absolutely love the holiday season. And then it just moves us right on into the new year. So that means planning and looking forward to whatever the new year is going to bring us. Hopefully we all are reviewed our previous year and we've been on point. Hopefully you've reached your milestones and you're making your plans for New Year. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you and your family. And this is our last show for this season, and we're coming back bigger and better and all that sort of stuff next year. And so it was absolutely an honor to finish it up this year with Mr. David Brown, one of my favorite people that are here in LA. There you go, Greg.
I like that.
I'm Krista Mitchell. I am the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, as well as a business coach in the community. This platform was a inspiration of mine back in 2020, and here we are 6 years later, going strong. And we're thankful for all of you that come out every week to support us, and all of our amazing community leaders and people that are doing things out there that are sharing what they're doing so that we can support them, because I think that is extremely important. We have a grand staff here working with us, and so you met Greg, and Steven is our producer. He's not here right now, and he should be popping in a minute, myself and then Miss Robin. But we want to thank you guys for your support this whole entire year. We've met some incredible people. We've learned about some stuff. I hope you guys are utilizing that. And most importantly, I hope we are utilizing each other. So if we're not, let's make a pledge next year to see how we can support each other's business, and so we can grow ourselves, our own economics. If nothing else that we have not learned this year in this last 11 months of torture, is that we own our own, people. We own our own. So if we're going to make this happen, so I'm going to kick this over to Robin, but before we do that, this platform is sponsored and supported by Recycling Black Dollars. Um, the BBA, as well as monetarily sponsored by the Los Angeles LDC, Mr. Michael Banner, and Southern California Edison, PCR, Wells Fargo Bank, and SoCal Gas, and Northrop. So we want to thank you guys and definitely thank them. And anybody want to contribute to the platform, you are more than welcome. You can just go over to our website and hit that little donation board so we can all continue to support the channel. So with that, Miss Robin, I'm going to kick it over to you.
Greetings, everybody. Robin Billups with the Billups Group. I assess, coach, and help folks get to a strategic framework for the goals and aspirations that they have. What I want to say is, I love doing this. I love this community. And I think that one of the things that keeps coming back to us is that we have to operate in community. If we support each other, if you're hiring somebody, start thinking about the folks that you've met on the community brief and start thinking about the folks that live in your neighborhood. So let's really, really press that issue. And every week I try to add some little tidbit. And I was listening to an author this morning, and I love what he said. The secret to winning is learning how to lose, learning how to take a loss and make that into a success, because each little incremental change that you make in each situation, you're going to learn something from it. And I just like that, learn how to lose and how to bounce back from a loss. If we have, one thing I know about us as people, we have those skills, and somewhere along the line, we've let some other folks tell us that we don't. And when you look at our history and our legacy, we've always done that. We've always depended on each other. Even if we're talking about each other, we will still depend on each other. So again, happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas. And I, like you, Crystal, this is my favorite time of year because we're celebrating baby Jesus' birthday. I got my earrings. I got my Mimi Claus t-shirt on. I'm in it to win it. I'm in it to win it. And folks are saying that they want 2025 to be over. I don't care what happens, because the God I serve made me some promises. So that's what I'm pressing on. That's all I ask you guys to do. Stop focusing on what you see and press towards what you're trying to be. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm going to kick it over to Greg before he gets me. Put that tam back on, Greg. That was too cute.
Oh, no. No, that was just for a few laughs and giggles. We got to get serious. And maybe at the end, I'll bring something else back.
The cartoonist is going to come on.
I was just going to put on my red tam.
Our guest today is David G. Brown, and I guess we got to find out what the G. I was staying where I stay right now. What's the G stand for?
Glenn.
Oh, it's not Gregory.
Goodness.
No, it's not Gregory. All right. Yeah. Glenn or Goodness. There you go. So David Goodness Brown is an award-winning artist, educator, and publisher, and he produces cartoons and books with positive messages for others. Crystal and I were kidding him that, because of our current president, there's lack of material to do any satire or cartoons or commentary. Of course, everybody loved the speech yesterday, but his work is featured in he's won Best Editorial Cartoons of the Year in 2005 and 2014. He is the political cartoonist for the Los Angeles Sentinel for the last 22 plus years. He is owner and creative director of the David G. Brown Studios. How did you come up with that name? David G. Brown Studios. Yeah. And he's the founder and creative director there. He's also done work with the Museum of African American Art here in Los Angeles. He is attended the Art Institute of Philadelphia, and he got his Bachelor's of Arts from Richard Stockton College of New Jersey. Where in New Jersey is that? I don't know where that is.
South Jersey.
South Jersey. What, like
right outside Atlantic City.
Right outside Atlantic City.
Atlantic City.
What's the town? I'm pretty...
It's called Pomona.
Okay.
Pomona, New Jersey.
Pomona, New Jersey. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but Stockton's a university now. It was a state college. It was relatively new when I attended,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and it was a very liberal college. We were so liberal that they had a pass-fail grade system, and it was founded by liberals. And what's interesting about that school is that it was very independent, and at the time, about half of my classes were independent studies, which ended up working on my behalf because if I got a teacher to sign up for a class, and I want to do a class on a course on cartooning or doing a comic book. If I got a teacher to sign off on it, I could do that and spend my time doing that. And so what was interesting about that, I don't know if there is a specific introduction, but I'm going to just dive into it if that's okay and give you a little bit about my backstory. So that was the 70s. And I was inspired by Black exploitation films and the Black Panther Party. And I lived in New Jersey. And so I was inspired by all that was happening, in Los Angeles and what have you. And so when I got to Stockton, after I was there about a year, they decided they wanted to do a student newspaper. And so they were looking for someone to do cartoons for the student newspaper. And so I was the first cartoonist for their newspaper. And I was really excited about that, because I've always liked to draw and I like art. And I was I don't know if you call it like a revolutionary or a civil. I mean, I was just a rebellious, at that stage of my life. And so it was an opportunity to me to be a voice for the students. And so I would do cartoons about tuition being too high, more Black teachers, the dorms are too crowded, uh, and so, and if I look at what the price of going to college now, it's ridiculous. How different it is. Anyway, so my trajectory as a political cartoonist, it was interesting. So a lot of the small businesses in the community around Stockton were noticing my cartoons, and they were very much interested in the students patronizing their businesses. So they reached out to me because they wanted me to do some cartoons to help promote their business. And a perfect example, there was the pub, the Stockton pub that was near the campus. And so I did cartoons of students attending and, partying at the pub. And they use these images in their promotion and advertising. And, like St. Patrick's Day or frat night. And so through that, I actually started to learn about media. And so I took on the role of designing ads for the college newspaper, which was a way for them to generate revenue. And so, make a long story short, so eventually I started working and I got hired while I was still in college for an advertising agency that did the Yellow Pages. So by the time I graduated from college, I had a portfolio, and so I was able to use that to go right into the advertising industry after graduating from college. So I'm really grateful for that I was able to do something that I was passionate about and to parlay that into a career.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You knew what you were going to do from beginning. Some of us have then gone through several pivots to get to
I've certainly gone through pivots, and I just want to say that there was something that Robin said earlier in the introduction that really resonated with me, and I think that when you talked about, I don't know, I don't necessarily call it failures, but I call it like challenges. I mean. And I don't think that I would even be doing the things that I'm doing now, especially with the entrepreneurial component of it, now if it wasn't for those challenges. So even though I was able to successfully go into the industry, most of those rooms, advertising agency, I worked in film and television, I worked in animation, and in those rooms, I was the only African American in the room. And so when you experience that, you're often marginalized, underestimated, and you have to be twice as better and tenacious and talented as your white peers just to be considered a peer. And so I think that when you're in that situation, there's two ways that you can handle it. You can either cower down, and lose your self-confidence and esteem, or you realize that you're going to have to work harder and be better and learn. And it's those moments where the growth takes place. And I know as a teacher, one of the hardest things to get across to students is to understand that that's really where the growth takes place. And in that learning from those challenges and those obstacles, you like, for instance, I knew that working in advertising, I was going to be limited in becoming an art director. That's kind of what you want to do, become an art director or production manager where you oversee a department. And I knew that it was going to be challenging for me to do that because, I'm often marginalized. And I think that also had me do my pivots from not only advertising, but I also wanted to understand the business side of it. So I want to just back up a little bit if you have any specific questions, because
David, that
sure.
your opening statement in this process, and this is why we do this. We want to illuminate, educate, and identify resources. So what you've shared in your early entrance to your career, I think those are the stories that we have to tell. We really have to tell because it really reflects the resilience of who we are. When you talk about the fact that, a majority of us sitting here have probably been the only one in the room.
Yeah.
Right. But share with us a little bit more about how that hurdle or that I like the word challenge. I don't call it an issue or problem either.
Yeah.
And I think that how we capture things and how how things resonate with us helps us, guides us towards where we're going to go, up or down. So if you can talk a little bit more about that was your early part of your career. What about like right now, when you're going to conferences, when you're in these rooms, when you're negotiating a contract, what does your competition look like now? Talk to us about that.
Well, let me for a minute just go back a little bit to
Please.
my early part of my career, because, and I'm going to give you an example of that. So when I graduated from college, I worked for an advertising newspaper similar to, I think they have a paper called the Penny Saver here in Los Angeles area. I worked for a paper called Shopper's Guide in New Jersey.
Same thing.
After I graduated, it's similar, and I already had some experience with me, after I graduated, because I worked, in advertising before while I was still in college, and so I met this white gentleman. He was from South Philadelphia, and he had talent. He didn't have the experience I had. And I kind of mentored him a little bit too, because of my background, extensive background and experience I had. And the general manager was an Italian guy from South Philadelphia. So they were kind of like, became friends. And in the period of 6 months, he became my boss. Even though I mentored him, he became my boss. And then the general manager laid me off. So, that was a real, punch in the stomach. But one of the things I'm happy about, it happened at that stage in my career, because I wasn't delusional about what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And so I knew that at that point that I really needed to get those skills so I could create whatever success that I could create myself.
Mhm.
and not relying on a mentor or someone else to make that success happen for me. And so
Mhm.
immediately after that, I was very interested in being an entrepreneur. And
That's great.
so an art, and one of the things about being an artist, I taught for LAUSD for about a decade, and I'll tell you about that pivot to that too. But that was an interesting thing. But I really think that um, one of the things that my mother left me with was to keep God first, believe in yourself, and always be willing to work hard.
Mhm.
And those are really powerful mantras toward how I live my life, you know, and my life journey, is a reflection on that. But that's when I really got interested in starting my own business because I knew I was going to be able to create my whatever success I had. And just getting back to the teaching component of it, I know I was talking about, when I was a career technical education teacher for LAUSD, and I taught design and I taught animation, and I also certified students in the Adobe program. Photoshop, illustration, and design, because that's the future of, the arts, media and entertainment industry. And I think there's two things that I really try to impress on students. And the first thing, as artists, most artists can be reclusive, or they tend to be reclusive. And so the ability to network and to be able to pitch your ideas to other people is crucial. I mean, you can be the most talented artist in the world in your studio doing this incredible work, but if no one knows that it exists, then you, that's not going to pay your mortgage or your rent. And so, having students get up and be able to convey their ideas and learn that art of being able to network and communicate. The second thing is understanding the business side of the industry, understanding, the value of what you can bring to a project, the value you can bring to a company, and being aware of that so you're not taking advantage of that. And so those are two things that I think are really important, especially for artists. And because I think overall, I think art is not necessarily appreciated in this culture as much as it could be. And I think the music industry is a perfect example of that. How, I mean, I'm sure you've heard horror stories about people, working in that industry and not being compensated for their work or even credited for their work. So understanding contracts, understand the business side of it, also understanding how do you navigate through the industry to find what you're passionate about and be compensated for it.
Very good. Very, very good. When you talk about entrepreneurship, which is what we truly try to focus on, I wrote a
Mhm.
note in the chat box that, I've ever since at will employment, I've always seen all of us as entrepreneurs, right? And so what the two things that I think that resonate mostly to me with what you just said, know your numbers and obtain marketable skills. So when you look at where your industry is going and all industry is going with this whole AI piece and, the computers and, when you think about all of the wonderful skills you have that you can do long-handed, and now most people just go to their computer and bring that
Right.
thing up. Can you speak to what are you feeling about that? And what would you suggest, especially for going forward? Because again, I think all of us need to start thinking about what is the pivot? How do we go forward? How do we create revenue streams?
Well, I think that I mean the whole concept of AI. I really try to push back on that. I mean, I've seen people lose jobs, and I know people at Disney that got laid off, and at one time, because when I did work, I worked for Filmation back in the '80s, and they did
Mm,
the Cosby Kids, and they did
hmm.
He-Man and all those things. I basically did storyboards for them, and then I saw a big change when it went from hand drawn to computers,
Hmm.
you know. And so that was a big revolution because
Hmm.
now you didn't need the artist to do all the in-betweens. And in-between, just to explain a little bit about it. So and to give you a comparison, with the classic Disney animation, they would do for every second of movement. Like if I move my hand like that, there would be 16 drawings. So someone would draw 16 drawings for that. And then as computers came into play, the computer can do that. So you don't need that in between person to do that. And now you see now where AI is taking away even character design and all those nuances and camera angles and those kind of things. And so I really feel like there's a creative part that's being lost in that process. And I really kind of push back, and then I'm seeing more and more people losing those opportunities and what have you. But I'm really fearful of where that's going to take us, though. You know.
So is there a way though, David, like in everything, and we have,
Uh-huh.
with innovation and interventions coming in all the time, and being able to capture your space in that space, so that those that are creatives, because I believe, creators are extremely important. We got our left brain people, well, we need
Yeah.
our right brain people to do the creative part, because left brains kind of get sometimes stuck in their trench, and if that happened, there would be no innovation ever created because they stayed right where they are, right? So many of us know friends but we used to do it that way, yeah, but we're not doing it that way today. So we have to be able to evolve. So is there a way that, even though AI is here, and I think AI is going to, right now, AI is like .com in the 2000s or in the 80s,
Yeah.
in the 90s, where it was like, oh my God, we're just this whole revolutionary thing, and then the bottom fell out of it, and it didn't. And I
Yeah.
already think they
Excuse
were
me.
promoting AI to get rid of everybody, right? That's not going to.
Yeah.
So now they're backing off of that. And so being able to use it as a tool, versus as eliminate my job, but how can I use it to help me even increase what I do or expand what I do, or even help me make more money than I do, as opposed to doing it the long way. And a prime example, when I came out of college, um, college is theory to me. I got nothing about making money. It's about theory and some discipline. So when you come out of school, you got to have some skills. So I went to secretarial school to learn how to type so I can make some money. And so when you're in early days, when you're an administrative assistant or whatever, and you're typing letters on this electric typewriter with remember the lady with the carbon copy? Well, hell, when the white thing came out, we're in heaven. The computers were like, oh my God, this is heavenly, right? So along those same ways, that it can make our lives easier, and I understand, being able to duplicate and take a person's art. But I also think, because Ian told me this in the early days, Ian's pictures were just snatched up. He was taking pictures every day, snatched up, nobody making any money. And then he had to start trademarking everything and locking stuff down.
Yeah.
And now he makes monies from people buying
Yeah.
his pictures. So is there a way that we can look at it from a creative side? How do we protect our abilities and our arts, and at the same time be able to see how we can expand it in, or be able to incorporate it in? Do you think that's possible?
Well, I think it's possible, and I think part of it is just understanding how it can be used effectively to do that too. I mean, because I think at this point we still don't know all the things that we can do with AI just yet,
No,
and
neither.
and not only that, but sometimes we don't know what's AI and what isn't. So that's the really scary part. So I wanted to take Destiny had a question about
Yes.
um,
Well, we have a couple of artists. Destiny is an up and coming artist, and of
Oh,
course,
okay.
Gardena
Gardena,
Brooks
yeah,
is
yeah,
major artist.
Michelle.
She's been doing
Yeah.
her work for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from New Jersey too.
So her
But
question is, do you think that human art may be more valuable or meaningful over time as people start to realize the limitations of AI?
No,
Spot
I think
on.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think that as human beings, we are unique in that we have that ability to create. I mean, I don't think all of us necessarily tap into that aspect or of our creativity because I think it really needs to be nurtured and encouraged, especially at a young age. Because and I
Mhm.
just want to make a quick point too. So I taught high school for a decade as a career technical education teacher. And then after I retired, I started teaching with working with middle school and elementary school kids. And what's different about elementary and middle school kids is they still have that um,
Curiosity.
that curiosity and that that excitement about expressing themselves. And they all like to draw or write,
Oh my gosh.
and they're passionate about sharing their point of view and wanting to be, I have a voice and their uniqueness that they can bring to anything that they do. And somehow that gets lost once they get to high
As you
school.
get older. Yeah, yeah.
Because once they get to high school, then the attitude is they think they know it all, and oh, I know that, all right, and so that's discouraging. So I think one of the things at that stage in their lives, they need to be exposed to being encouraged
Mhm,
to continue to create and continue. I mean, because
mhm,
oftentimes, when they get a certain age, or I mean, even and I'll use myself as an example. My dad was a cook, and
mhm,
so when I graduated from high school, I worked with my dad. He was a head chef at this institution, and I ended up being a special diets cook. And I enjoyed that, and I really applied whatever creativity I had to that craft
to
too, because
that
the creative
situation.
process, depending on even if you're performing or a vocalist, that same process is the
Anything,
same. It's just a
anything, yes.
matter of applying yourself to those things. And my dad, in his generation, it was all about getting a good job, stay there for 30 years, and retire. And so that was his trajectory of what he saw doing for me. And in his life experience, that's what he felt the best advice was for me. But I think all of our paths are different. And I think that I really blessed it early on in my career that in my life, I found something that I was passionate about and was able to pursue it and had the opportunity to embrace it and encourage because my mother was an artist too. She was a painter,
Mm.
and so that was really. And then I have an older brother who's an artist. He worked as a draftsman. He paints now, and so having those influences, I think, made a big difference in the trajectory of where I took my career.
Michelle has a very excellent point here. We still need the human touch. I animated one of my kids' books using AI
Yeah,
and still needed to get my illustrator involved, right?
yeah,
I think that again, AI is pulling our information and
right,
making it computerized, right? So really and truly, at the end of the day, when I think about I became a lender, and when I yeah they got underwriting that's automated, but
right,
I'm the best person telling that story because I have a connection with that client, right? So again, I think, and Crystal always says this, I think it's incumbent upon for everybody listening to take some AI classes to get yourself familiar with
right,
it because it's not going away. But at the end of the day, keep honing your skill.
right.
Keep honing. David just said it. Keep honing what you're passionate about because that's what's going to move you forward. And I guess Ted Booker can't read because he wants to raise his hand and ask a question. Open up your mic, Ted.
You know,
You
a
will
big
get called out. This is family.
Yeah, you know my big mouth.
How you doing? How you doing, Ted?
Well, I just
Yeah.
wanted to compliment what you're saying because even in my business, because my
Uh,
business is new, but I do strategic planning, program project
okay.
development, management evaluation, all that stuff. But
Right.
I use AI as a tool. My core skill
Right.
set is strategic planning. When you're
Right.
using AI, you have to train it for what you want.
Right.
But
Yes.
my foundational skills is what keeps me employed and keeps me with
Right.
clients because everybody want to talk to me because of what my
Right.
core skill set is. My core
Right.
skill set is strategic planning. A computer can't do that for you.
Yeah.
And it helps me to be able to make that connection and
Right.
give individual attention to a client. So I love AI in that it is a tool and it helps me to do my work faster, but I have to
Right.
give it what I want, the information that I need, the
Right.
content, and help it. It helps me to synthesize and kind of formulate. But I recognize what the awesome elements like for the grant writing piece. A good
Right.
storyteller. If you know how to write, you can write a grant. I'm
Right.
moving my service more into private fundraising. A
Uh-huh.
computer can't do that.
Right.
And so I'm making some adjustments to kind of to make sure I'm in alignment and to be able to move my business. But I had to reassess what I'm doing and how I'm
Hmm.
moving forward, like because this is my first year. And
Yeah.
Right.
so I'm really loving this conversation that we're
Conversation.
having.
Well,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
to your point, I think that AI can only give you what you put into it. So
Yes.
I think that being clear about what you put into it makes a big difference in what outcome you're going to get from them. But I think that that's a crucial component
No, it's a
of it.
very crucial, and even AI gets it wrong because sometimes you'll
Yeah.
go in. I was using it and then wanted to. I think the pictures actually, if you don't understand how to give it all of the details that it needs,
Mm.
Prompts.
is
Yes.
but inevitably, if there's words in it, it's gonna screw it up always. And I've also found out that if you ask it to go in and you like something, but you want to tweak it, then they try
Right.
to go back and tweak it and it goes all wrong, right? So I've
Well,
had to take things out of that and take it to Canva and do my own thing in order to get it the way I want it. So it is not, there's not perfection there because it's still a learning thing. But I think in some
well,
areas it does extremely well. But I actually, me personally, I think the art piece is still, I like to tell people this story, and this is how I feel about artists. We all come with our own brand of flavor, right?
right. Yeah.
Exactly. So I tell people, especially my entrepreneurs, they're like, "Oh, I don't want nobody stealing my idea." Well, first of all, if you are in your idea, they can't steal it, right? That's the
Right.
first thing. And the second thing is, everyone I know is a business coach. Everyone that my colleagues are all business coaches, and I don't feel I'm competing with any of them because nobody's crystal. I got my own crystal flavor and
Right.
vibe, and I come with it the way I come with it, just like all of you come with it the way. And I think artists do the same thing. It's like a writer. You put your heart and soul in what you're creating that's coming from the interiors of you onto paper, and nobody can duplicate that, right? Not the air and the flavor and the finesse that you put into it. That's you. And if you've come up with a whole new,
Essence.
Ardina has, what she does,
Right.
it's her own.
Right.
It's Ardina, right? Nobody else can do Ardina, and
Yeah.
like no one can do Robin, no one can do Crystal, no one can do.
Right.
So I think that we have to build us like you, David. I mean, you're phenomenal in the political cartoonist world, and I think that's a niche right there. There ain't a whole lot of people that is made it
Yeah.
where that have carried across time, like Boomsday and all that sort of stuff, that's
Right.
been able to
Yeah.
carry that because that's your own imagination, that's your own
Yeah.
way and vision of seeing
Yeah.
what you see, and then being able to make some fun of it so people can get it.
But you know what's really interesting too? I think that even though I might have a specific concept in mind, sometimes people might interpret it different, and
Yes, exactly.
so
Yeah.
I've had challenges with editors in regard to that too. But I'll give
Mhm.
you I'll give you an example. I did a cartoon. It's one of them in my new book about Condoleezza Rice when she was part of the Bush administration. And I really felt that she could have done more for the Black community and speaking up for women and those issues that I felt George W. Bush felt short on. And so I did this cartoon. It's called The Cleanup Woman. And so I dressed her up in the French maid outfit, cleaned up between Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld. And I got a lot of pushback, even from my editor about that, about like that they felt that I was picking on this Black woman. But in my opinion, if you're going to be a public servant, you need to be accountable. I don't care what color you are. And you need to be held accountable. But that's my perspective, and not everyone in the community feels that same way. Or not,
David,
let me
thank
give you
you.
another example.
Thank you for calling her out because she had an opportunity to be the cleanup woman
Yeah,
and
she
she
did.
didn't, right? Okay, keep talking.
I just want to give you one other example, just about interpretation. So, you remember the swine flu was coming from Mexico, right?
Yep.
And so I did this cartoon of, you know how at the border they have the immigrant family coming over. So I had a pig family coming over to the United States. And some people interpret that I was calling Mexicans pigs. But that was not my intention. But people, people see what they want to see sometimes.
Renee, open up your mic, darling. You still
Renee?
on mute, sister.
This is for you, David. What do you think the difference is between our generation and all of the things that Crystal has just said, that this is our material and so forth? What are the young people, your junior high school, and you say the transition in high school and they think differently. So how do you think that AI is affecting the younger kid, the junior high and the high school kid?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's also social media. I also think it's the cell phones. And, when I was growing up, I had cousins in New York, in DC, and I would sit down and write letters to my cousin, hey, or sit down and write a card to my aunt and what have you. And that was the whole process that these young people aren't using nowadays.
Social skills.
And social skills. And then even like being introduced to someone, and the first thing they want to do is give you their social media tag or their Facebook. And I think that human connection is lost. And I think that along with that, I think there's a lack of empathy and consideration for other people that I see throughout our culture. And I think also the leadership in this country has made that even worse, just in terms of not, okay, so that's them, not us. So this doesn't affect me. And I think that's a part that, Renee, that I think that this generation is lacking, that, that human connection and more about what we have in common as opposed to our differences.
Well, how do you think they're embracing AI, comparatively speaking?
Well, you know what? I know that now. I mean, I've been away from being in the classroom teaching since 2020 because I retired from being in the classroom at 2020. But I think now, and also talking to my colleagues and people that are still teaching, is AI. They're using AI as a crutch to to answer questions and what have you. And that's been a really challenging thing to do. Matter of fact, I was just talking to a friend of mine who's a PhD candidate. And so she's an intern. And so her role is to go through grading different students' work and checking to see if they're using AI or not.
Yeah.
I mean that's a whole role for someone to do that. So I think that that lack of independent thinking, creative thinking, I don't think that that's helpful.
Part of it
And
too is
human growth.
it's part of it too is that, this is what they've grown up with, right? So it's incumbent upon us, it's incumbent upon their parents, it's incumbent upon the educators to help them see, as Crystal always says, that this is a tool. This is not, it's my friend used to say, this is the add water and stir generation. They're the microwave crew. They want everything instantly. They don't want to have to dig and all of this kind of carrying on. But what I always tell the young people, Renee, is if the electricity goes out or your computer breaks, what can you do with a piece of paper and a pencil?
Right.
What can you do longhand is what I call it. And people look at me like, well, what is she talking about? Yeah, it will happen. It will happen. I was just at a conference and the computer went out. And I'm saying to myself, honey girl, you only got an hour for your session. You better get to the issue at hand because you can't pull your slides up. You made the slides. And I think that people are tending to forget that AI is what David started out talking about, a piece of paper and a pencil, a thought that he put on paper. And David, to your point, I was an advertising major as well. And writing and doing all of my ads from a Black perspective got me in trouble at the University of Missouri, but I graduated. The whole mission was, you can't tell me who I am.
Right.
You can whatever way you want to. But at the end of the day, I have a Black perspective because that's what I grew up with. But Renee, that's a great point that we continually have to keep helping our young people see that these are just tools.
Yeah.
Even ourselves. I mean, AI is a computer.
Yes.
And it is not, and the danger that some are going to run into is personifying it. So, so before you got into AI, how many of you use Siri or Alexa? Right? You're talking to it as though it's a person. I don't do that. I don't have Siri. I don't want it listening, to what I'm saying because I still want to keep my brain sharp. I was just reading an article actually this morning, when we were bringing it up, about how certain executives who do well, and one common theme that they have is they still write things down. I still have a book here. My to-do list is handwritten as opposed to I know Robin got it's and so what does it do? All right, not only is it the technology, but it's etching it into your brain. The point of the connective of your brain and your hand doing that is going to commit it to memory much deeper than if you typing it in. So, okay.
Now go ahead, continue. I'm just showing David's cartoon everything.
I love it, Crystal.
No, go continue, Greg. That was just so everybody could see it because we're that part. Go ahead, finish.
Oh yeah, I just got distracted. All of a sudden, I just got this in front of me. Just it's interesting because I feel I can do anything, but one thing that I know that hasn't evolved since 7th grade for me is drawing. So I still draw at a 7th grade level. I cannot illustrate. That is one thing that I just, have been unable to do it. I try it. I attempt at it. And it's just bad. Just like, decorating or colors. I have certain skill sets. So the thing to look at it is to look at AI as really as a computer and be cognizant of the things that it cannot do. So it cannot have empathy. It cannot have judgment. It cannot create something on its own. Whatever it's creating is something that it's grabbing somebody else's creation. So I'm distracted here with this, Chris.
Greg, can I make a point? Can I make a quick point?
Wait, certainly.
Okay. So there was a point when I was in high school where I was interested in being a musician. I used to play the piano and the trumpet. And so I think that my creativity, I could have gone into career in that direction. And still those same skills and that same process would be the same, whether I'm performing as a musician or visual artist. So I think that, it's not only just identifying whatever that passion is, but you also have to be able to nurture it and refine it and do what you can to build on that to be successful.
I have a statement that everybody can sing. Everyone can sing, but some sing good. Some sing well, some sing good, some sing very good, and they're great singers. But everybody has the ability to sing. It may not be on key. So somebody said, "Well, do you sing?" I'm like, "Yeah, can't everybody sing?" Unless you have lost your vocal abilities. So you can sing, but what can you do well? I can draw. But I heard that New York accent. I can draw, but certain words it just comes. It hits me like bang. But I don't draw well, and so AI helps. Where if I'm wanting to create a flyer or something like that, I know what I want, but to go through the mechanisms of doing it. So AI really is a computer. We went through the same thing in the 70s when computers came out. And how many clerical jobs did computers eliminate? It did, right? But you had to evolve and change. So this locomotive of change doesn't stop. It's continuing on. Time's going to march on. Every day, today's different than yesterday. It's a different day, and tomorrow's going to be different than today. And so you have that mindset that things evolve. How do you now adapt to that? Because if you're stuck in the way things used to be, then you're essentially you're driving down the road looking in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen that way. It's just not going to happen.
Right. We're not going back. It's not going back. We don't get to go back to like November of this year is gone. We can't go back to, oh man, there was some things I need to get back done before Thanksgiving. We can't do it.
We can't even go back to election day and change the number.
That part. So, I think the key thing that you want to tap in with what David is saying is that, the creativity within our youth to encourage that, because as you get older, the wall of limitation gets more rigid. You can break through that at a younger age, but as age goes on, we get accustomed to how things were always doing. Oh, that's right. I have my auto hand raised, so if I raise my hand, the hand will go. Yeah, exactly.
But you're absolutely right, Greg. But here's the thing from the educational standpoint, because I teach kids as well. And this year I did augment our their entrepreneurial journey with AI. And there's a tool we actually use. They have to use their own brain power to come up with an idea. And then and a problem, and then they have to come up with a solution. So in the past, if I asked kids in 2 years ago, come up with a business idea, they'd give me lipstick and a t-shirt. And I was tired of hearing the lipstick and the t-shirt. It really, really was. So when I brought candles. Yeah, and I need you to think bigger. I need you to think like gigantic, as a friend of mine said. I want you to think like in the galaxies. And so, but again, their mindsets, their mind is limited based upon what they know and where they've been and what they're being taught. And unfortunately, a lot of LA Unified School teachers don't expand themselves out. Some of them never even travel. So if you don't even leave your own darn neighborhood, you can't be really expansive, right? So I told them what I wanted, and then they used AI, and Robin was a judge. There came up with some brilliant ideas that I am very proud of. So just like you said, Greg, when I was in when I did administrative assistant, when I first started, came out and need to make money, I learned long time. I learned like within the first 2 years that if I don't get another skill that is going to be that every business needs, like bookkeeping and accounting, I'm going to be aced out. And that is exactly what happened in the 70s and the 80s. Yeah. You could apply for an administrative secretarial job and you weren't going to make no money, and you're going to be the first one out the damn door. Because soon as the bosses learned how to use the computer, they didn't need you to write a letter for them. And they need you to answer the phone for them because they had voicemail and they had cell phones and they had texting. So you already lost who you were. So I had to create who I am at that time. But even now with AI, if I didn't do the strategical teaching and training of of accounting software, I would not have a job now because it's being eliminated. So that's what happens. Everything turns over and you got to do things differently. But to your point, David, the 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 school has limited the creativity of a child.
I agree. I agree. And but I mean I still see it in the lower grade in
Yeah,
elementary and
elementary
middle
Yeah.
school. And
school,
I love that. I love
kindergarten.
that. I love
Yeah,
that.
kindergarten. That's all they do in that age is
Yeah.
draw, right?
It's-
There's a book that this guy named Sir Kenneth Robinson wrote many years ago, and it's about how the schools have sucked out the creativity. By the time you get to ninth, eighth grade,
Yeah.
they don't want you to be creative. They want you to mimic and
That's
duplicate.
not new.
No, it's
That's
not
not
new.
new. That happened 20 years ago, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
That's not new.
Yeah. So
So
you have
Greg, quick question. Can I share a couple of my favorite cartoons?
Yes,
yes, you
yes, you
can.
Okay.
can.
Okay, so I'm
You
gonna
better.
I
She
want
didn't
to
put your
share.
whole portfolio up there,
Let's
but we would
see.
appreciate you sharing your
Let's
favorite
see.
ones.
Let's see if I can find out how I can do that. How do I get to my desktop?
Oh, just minimize. Go up at the top in the
Minimize.
corner there, minimize.
Yeah, you could just share. Just as I was talking, something visual
Okay,
distracted me. That's
okay,
why I was
okay.
just.
That's share. Okay, I see. I clicked on share.
And then
Right. Now
The
you have to
screen.
you have
find it
one
on your
screen or two screens. You have one computer screen or two computer screens.
I have one computer screen.
okay.
Okay. So application window.
Yeah, when you go to share, look for that first window that says one, and it should show your screen if you've pulled up your cartoon, your cartoon.
Okay, so but I need to open the cartoon up, don't I? Okay,
Yeah, open the
let me
cartoon
do.
up.
That's
Yeah.
that's the
Hold
beginning.
on,
Yeah.
one second.
In the meantime, you guys, I just got one little quick thing. We attended the BBA's. We had a session with the BBA looking at what their going forward activity
Okay.
will be for 2026, and Sarah has some exceptional plans. Her and the board, and Dr. Vicky Mays was there, and Dr. Mays has agreed to work with us to come up with an offsite event where we're going to be talking about the
There you
medical
go.
disparities, and I just wanted to share
Here's
that
one.
that
Oh, I saw this one. So for
yeah, I
those of you
did.
that don't know, that David is his art his cartoons are in the LA Sentinel, and so he posts on. If you follow him on his social media, you get to see
Hmm.
these wonderful cartoons. But yeah, this is beautiful.
Okay, let me see. I want to share this other one. I'm still trying to navigate through this. Sorry.
Oh, so
That's
then
good
just
though. This is really good. I like this
I even like the
because that's
you got
Katanji.
the break in the trousers there with the shoes, man. That's that's an extra touch there. That's fabulous.
yeah. Oh wow, I don't think I saw this one. This is fantastic. Hope and change and groping lane. Yeah, that. Now, do your art, so you mentioned a book. So do you have
Uh-huh.
many books and where
Yeah,
can
I have. Yeah, I have. Gosh, uh, I've done about 6 books. My first book was in 2009. I did a book about Barack Obama, and I won an NAACP Image Award for it in 2009. Then I have a series of books called Tales from the Kids book. And Tales from the Kids is a program where I work with young people. Let me see if I have one of those that I could share. I'm still trying to navigate through here. Sorry.
and we can find your book on where? Your website or
Well,
Amazon?
actually, my latest book. Um, I'm going to put that up on the screen to share. Uh, this book It just came out in September. It's available. You can go by the Los Angeles Sentinel to purchase it.
Okay.
Drawing my own
But
conclusions. That's cool.
and it's kind of synopsis of my 2 decades of cartoons. Like I have a chapter specific about Trump. I have a chapter about Obama. I have a chapter about injustice. I have an LA chapter that highlights a lot of the LA people
Oh,
and police injustice and what have you. So it's available. You can go into the Sentinel office to purchase it. I was on Amazon, but my latest book, actually, they rejected it. All my other books were okay, right? And when when I shared the book with them, because you may or may not know that Bezos is a big supporter of Donald Trump.
Well, we know that.
And my content does not praise Trump at all. And so they said it doesn't fit our qualifications, or I forgot how they put it. But you
yeah.
know what? I'm just fine with that, because I'm not going to support people that don't support us.
Correct.
And I think that more of us need to look that way and hit them in the pocketbook. I mean, I don't shop at Target, Whole Foods, or Home Depot, any of those places that support the Trump agenda. So I just think that's, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to allow myself to do that.
No. And they're going to get a rude awakening. They're going to be like Mr. Pillow and Rudy Giuliani very shortly. They're going to change their mind a whole lot.
Okay, guys, we've come to the top of the hour, David. This has been delightful. This was a great way for us to end our year with you. You're local, you're political, you support Black business, you're in the media. You gave us a great understanding of how you got started. And we're just grateful for you being a part of the family. And we don't want you to come back because you were invited back. We want you to become a regular.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure. I mean, I think that, and I often find that as a teacher too, I think that my career journey can be an inspiration to others. And I do a lot of library presentations. I like to be in front of young people of color because I think it's really important that they see someone that looks like them doing what they might be inspired to do. And I think that's so very important. And so I'm going to continue to use my platform and my relationships to be able to inspire and educate others.
And I think that's
so thank you again. I really appreciate that. And I also want to give credit to GLAC, PCR, because those institutions were very important in terms of me growing as an entrepreneur. And I mean, having the artistic skills and ability is one thing, but being able to, how do you monetize that and how do you value that and create that into a business, that's going to be able to, you're going to be able to maintain. So a couple of things I just want to mention is that I do have an exhibit at the Watchtowers Art Center, and that'll be there till February. And then I'm going to have an exhibit at Antioch University, and that's going to be in February. And other than that, I appreciate your support, the community support. And Crystal, I've known you over the years, and I really appreciate all you've done to enrich my knowledge about business. And Greg, it's always great to see you. And I wish everyone a wonderful holiday. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any additional questions or concerns, or just you want to chat. I'm available and easy to access. So thank
David,
you again.
Can you put your contact information in the chat box as well?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much, David, for being here, sharing, because it's so important. A lot of, as you were saying, when we talk about art, I mean, I have many parents who had very artistic kids, and they told them that they couldn't make any money and they had to go to school and do something else. Um, that was a real job. So for those that were able to go and be able to make a career, and I think you're a prime example of that, of how you use your craft wherever you can use it, and it can create a job for you. Jobs are not, they're not stagnant. So you make the best out of whatever it is. But I want to thank you for that, especially with young people. That's why I do the entrepreneurship stuff, is because they got to know that you don't just have to come out of, you can go to college. I want you to go to college, but I want you to then to come out and create your own business, right? Because that's the only power you have of advancing what you do. Because as you said, you can get just so far in a career that is not run by somebody that look like you, and they're not going to elevate you up to the highest level that you can be. You have to do that yourself. So that's why I left corporate America 35 years ago and did not look back, because I felt they were squishing me in a box, and I'm not. It's difficult to keep me in a box. I kept oozing out. So I just took myself completely out of the box. So we're gonna let Lardina give us her last. I had her hand up, and then we're gonna wish you all a Merry Christmas, and we're gonna see you back here next year. For those of you that are on here, we'd love to have some of you as a guest, or all of you as a guest on the community brief next year, just to share your life. And then anyone else that you guys feel would be great on this platform, please refer them over to myself or Stephen or Robin or Greg, and then Stephen will reach out to them. So we want to thank you all for that. So Ardina, where did she go? Oh,
I'm right here, right here. I thank you, Crystal, Robin, everybody on here. But David, you know what? I've always admired you, your talent and how you move forward. And I can identify with so many things that you said, especially starting out in the early 70s. Before computers were even out. So I know we're running out of time, but I have to say something. I can't sit here and say nothing, but I really appreciate you, and I do want to spend some time with you.
Sure. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate the art that you do, and and I see you out there. I mean, I think that's one of the things, is being out there, connecting with the community, connecting with the people.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen Ardina's art, go over to her website. Ardina put that in there. She's got some amazing art and some great ideas if you want to preserve your family's portrait. She does some amazing work on was it brass? Is it brass? Or the one that your mom has done, you did it on the.
Oh yes, that's acrylic.
So just beautiful work. So great gift ideas from Miss Ardina. You might not get it at Christmas time, but you can get it afterwards.
Definitely.
You give them the gift certificate, a handwritten gift certificate that is being customized for them.
Right. And I do that. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
But thank you again, David.
Well, welcome. Okay, so David, you put your information in. I see you put it in. Thank you guys all. Have a happy Christmas.
Ms. Jackson, what happened to you?
Enjoy your family. Make your goals and not resolutions, goals for 2026. The even years are usually good for me, so I'm going with a lot of optimism. There's some great things gonna happen in 2026, and I want you all to be with us and with me. So we'll see you guys all next week. Have a fantastic time. And we'll see you January. What is it? 8th, right, Stephen? And we have Bridget LeBlanc. Okay.
Before we go, Ardina has an event coming up on September 27th at the Bill Brew Library. from 11:30 to 12:30. There's a flyer in the chat box, and it's free and it's in person. The purpose and power of preserving legacy through art.
There you go.
Wonderful. Sounds good.
So she may not be able to get you then for Christmas, but she can get you for Kwanzaa. So get on over to Argentina.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a Kwanzaa event, so that you all know. It starts
wonderful.
and it ends until, well, it says 3. They start eating at 3. It's free food, you guys. So come on.
All right. Now, did I just hear, and I don't know, those of you that are Lamert has just been named the Black Cultural Center for Los Angeles. I think it actually is official now.
Oh, really?
Something happened.
Okay, take us off a recording first, Crystal, because we can have our after show. Everybody can open up your mics.
I think it's Smallwood. What's her name? Janet Smallwood, Senator. I think she was a part of that made that happen. I read it yesterday. But okay, we're gonna close the show and then leave the open part open. So thank you guys for coming and joining us. And we will see you all in the new year. So,
David, I got a question for you.
Going off, I assume that's after the recording goes off.